We acknowledge the land on which we sit and which we call the North Clackamas School District rests on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Malala, and the Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land, and we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected Indigenous and Native families, both past and present, and that will affect those in the future, and honor the resilience and revitalization of our Indigenous and Native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you, Vice Chair Benaloga. Now I'll lead us in the flag salute.
To the flag, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members, in your board packet, you will find the minutes of the August 25th, 2022 meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Either raise your hand online or in person. Oh, Director Benaloga.
Chair Bauer, yes, I move we approve the minutes from our meeting on August 25th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Director Weiss seconds.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'll call for a vote, a roll call vote on the motion. Director McVeigh. He's not on yet. He was just, we'll come back. Director Perez.
Aye.
Thank you. Director Way.
Aye.
Director Benaloga.
Aye.
Myself as aye. We'll try Director McVeigh. Okay, let's go on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got him. All agree. So the motion will pass with a vote of 4-0. In the board packet, you will also find the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. The item is employment changes. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Director Benaloga.
Yes, Chair Bauer, I move we approve the consent agenda, which includes employment changes.
Is there a second? Director Perez, I think you got the second, right? Any discussion? So we'll call for another roll call vote. Director McVeigh, I guess you're not able to connect. Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benaloga,
Aye.
and myself, aye. So the motion passes with a vote of 4. Next, we move on to community comments. This is an opportunity for our community to bring input to the board. Input is welcome and valued. It's our duty to keep it safe and respectful for everyone, students, staff, and our community. It's not a time for discussion or debate. If you have a question, please state that question. And if you provide your contact information, you will receive a response at a later time. If you have handouts, please bring them and present them to the board executive assistant, Donna Collingwood, and she will distribute them to the board members after the meeting. Reminder, the board will not hear complaints regarding any individuals. Letters to the board are always welcome, and each of us reads the input. Letters we received since the last meeting consisted of communicable disease protocols, staffing allocations, volunteer policy at school, short-staffed buses, double route time, and concerned parent regarding the first day procedures. You'll be given 3 minutes to talk. Any individual, but then I will state also in our policy, there are certain items that we need to be sure and follow. Any individual desiring to speak may indicate their desire by submitting their name, city, residence, either email address or phone number, and the group, if any, that is represented by the sign-in sheet, on the sign-in sheet or online form prior to the board meeting. A speaker must give their name, city of residence, and the group, if any, that is represented, and will limit their presentation to 3 minutes. If there are more patrons desiring to present comments at that time allotted, the vice chair or the chair has the authority to reduce the presentation time for individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with attention to order of sign-up and city of residence. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of the district operations and programs that are of concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual's district staff member or any person connected with the district. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment, be mindful of civil discourse. The board vests in its chair or other presiding officer to terminate the remarks of any individual when those remarks do not adhere to the rules. So our first speaker, we did have someone sign up online. Are they on, Donna? Okay. So then we'll go to the sign up sheet, and first to speak, Tara Nelson. Do you want to come forward, Tara? And your time will start after you state your name and city of residence. Welcome.
Tara Nelson, Damascus. I want to address Agenda Item 7, Policy Revision Action BDDH, Public Comment. Modify the length of public comments to 2 minutes. When I expressed a concern earlier this year that parents and constituents were being discriminated against for unfair treatment of speaking time, an example was a district employee was given 4 minutes and no cutoff time to wrap up their public comment. That was not intended to be twisted around and shorten public comment from involved and concerned parents of 3 minutes to 2 minutes to address today's top priority subjects to the North Clackamas School District. This is also coming off of the heels of the COVID policy shutdown. It was to bring attention to the inequality of favoritism to the opposed speakers and views. School boards of education typically desire community involvement of the decision-making process. School board meetings are of elected governing body open to the public and should have a process in place to hear from the community, a time to hear all topics, even controversial issues, to be heard input, encouraging all sides to be heard fully. What's 1 minute less? It depends on your interpretation and what side of the issue you are on, your tone of voice. So what's 1 minute more? Or should I say, why cancel a constituent parent 1 minute from 3 to 2 minutes? This policy change is not showing good faith. Keep the original 3-minute policy comment allowed, as most governing public forums do, neighboring school districts, city councils, and even the county commissioners.
Thank you, Tara. First on our agenda, or next, is the superintendent's report. Welcome, Superintendent James. I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. Thank you. I'll put the PowerPoint up for me, please. Fantastic. So this evening, I'm excited to share a successful launch to a new school year with you. Excuse me. And while I will share some initial information with you now, our team will go into more thorough detail and discussion on the start of our school in our next board work session scheduled for September 22nd. So just wanted to let you know, we'll go a little bit deeper then. And you can go ahead and start the slideshow there. So we welcomed back our district leadership team in early August and our classified and certified staff mid to late August. And here you will see staff pride with our North Clackamas t-shirts across the system as a kickoff to launch our new strategic plan. Our time spent together was framed in moving from transition to alignment with the new strategic plan as the guide. Our mission statement remained consistent with the addition of 3 words, act with courage, which has become a connecting through line in our work for supporting students and families. While the last few years were tough on all of us, it was important to start off by recognizing our successes and to show gratitude to one another. And this is a theme that we will continue to carry throughout the school year this year. In welcoming a new school year, we grounded ourselves in understanding our roles as instructional leaders, which aligned with our focus on instructional strategies for students. And we launched a successful new teacher orientation with upwards of 100+ new teachers in attendance. We also hosted a 3-day literacy institute and math workshops. And we put into motion high leverage instructional practices for all content areas. And as you can see, there's a lot of excitement about the start of this school year. And so again, I want to say thank you to our staff for getting our schools up and running and being present for our students. And so as you can see, this is a slideshow that shows each of our groups that took pictures, and we will make sure you have this link so that you can also go back and view it. You can go ahead and move to the next one. So we have many things to look forward to in the upcoming school year. And for some students, it's the joy of learning. For some, it's art. And for some, it's athletics, etc. And our administrators are no different, no exception. One of the most notable fall sporting events is the new Administrator Bowl, which recently kicked off. And we want to introduce you to all the new players. And many of them are here in the audience with us tonight. So go ahead and join.
Well, the electricity is certainly in the air as we get ready for this annual classic matchup. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Quist, along with expert analyst Lynn Wood, and we are just minutes away from this clash of the Titans that kicks off in the North Clackamas School District each August. It's the new Administrator Bowl as we get ready to watch some of the best administrators in the nation showcase their skills in a classic showdown. And there are some characters on this year's squads whose world champion exploits extend way beyond the athletic field. Let's meet these extraordinary players who are new to North Clackamas.
Patricia Ahrens, Associate Director for Elementary Programs, and I am the champion of eating Colombian empanadas.
Ajay Huja, Principal, Sabin Schellenberg, World Champion of Mental Math.
Gerardo Marquez, Assistant Principal at Rex Putnam High School, and I'm World Champion of making some spicy green sauce.
Celeste Luigi, Multiple Pathways Program Administrator based at New Urban High School. I am a World Champion Tour Guide and Navigator.
Michelle Riddell, Executive Director of Human Resources and World Champion of Staff Happiness.
Sheila Boyer, Associate Director for Recruitment and Retention, Human Resources. I am the World Champion of Chip Tasting.
Teresa Jaramillo, Interim Principal, Riverside Elementary. I am the champion of sleeping in on a weekend with 3 very loud kids running around the house.
Alma Morales Galicia. I am the HR Associate Director for Classified. And I am the World Champion of Long Distance Jogging.
Matt McCara, Executive Director, Finance and Business Services, World Champion, Useless History and Sports Trivia.
Stephanie Kendall, Coordinator of Special Ed, World Champion, Disneyland Tour Guide.
Erin Higgins, I'm an Assistant Principal at Milwaukee High School. I am world famous at finding rock star parking and getting into the spot.
Sarah Westerson, Interim Assistant Principal, Oak Grove Elementary and Oregon Trail Elementary. And you're looking at the World Champion Pancake Eater.
Hello, I'm Lily Salini, and I'm the Assistant Principal at Milwaukee El Puente Elementary School and Billquist Elementary School. And I am the World Champion of talking to my mom on the phone.
We know it takes 11 players all working in sync during each play on the football field, but we also know there are more than 11 other district administrators shifting positions. And to break those down, let's go back to our expert analyst, Lynn Wood. Well, thanks very much, Bill. So excited to see these players shine in their new positions. Let's take a look across the line here.
Trisha Hallinan, Principal, Happy Valley Middle School. I am the World Champion. I don't know. Yeah, nothing.
Rosanna Hardy, I'm the interim principal of Ardenwald School of Elementary Programs, and I am the world champion of Tabasco sauce on everything.
Kim Kellogg, principal of Milwaukee High School and Milwaukee Academy of the Arts, and I am a world champion of always being able to find a good donut.
Rob Holloway, Director of Special Education, world champion, songwriter, and crier during sappy movies.
Jackie Brothers, Special Education Coordinator, world champion of falling asleep in the car, even if I'm driving.
Carol Odo, Assistant Principal, Rock Creek Middle School, world champion lift feeder.
Myra Gomez, Executive Director of Student and Family Services, North Clackamas School District, world champion texter.
Yvette Lightborn, Program Administrator, Department of Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development, world champion of following the rules, unless it's a speed limit sign, those suggestions.
Javier Torres, Field Custodial Supervisor, Facilities Operations, and I am the champion of golf.
Carrie Montgomery, Principal at Oregon Trail Elementary, and I am the world champion of bubblegum bubble blowing.
Ryan Richardson. I am the Associate Director in charge of high schools and athletics, and I am the world record holder for best interior design.
Check out Gloria Peaky. She's moved out of the assistant principal's office and will be the starting principal at Sunnyside Elementary. Then there's Tammy O'Neill, an all-star with a long list of accolades. T.O. is ready to Geo as the new executive director of teaching and learning and professional development. And as we move down the line, we come to one of the best at facing the blitz of middle school students and staff. Amy Fortuna is the new assistant principal at Rao Middle School. And finally, in a move that I really question as an analyst, longtime elementary principal Curtis Long, who we all know has slow feet and very little arm strength, will help quarterback district communications as the new director of public relations. Well, yes, we will certainly be watching to see how that one goes, but you shouldn't go anywhere. You've met the players, and now all that's left is excitement up ahead. We're glad you're with us, and kickoff is just ahead.
I know, I can tell you that I never get tired of this video.
Well,
So I just want to start by saying a special thank you to our communications department and Curtis Long, who is also in the audience. They did a lot of hard work to put this together for us, so very appreciative. And I would ask if you are a new administrator with us to the district, or if new in your position, if you could stand so they can just see your faces and we can recognize you. So. Thank you. You can see we have a pretty awesome group, and we also, I believe, have one or two folks with us on Zoom as well. So if you joined us with Zoom, thank you for joining us. And I do want to let our administrators know, unless you are part of the exec team, you are welcome to stay with us for the evening. We'd love to have you, and also understand if you have other events that you need to get to. So thank you for being here this evening.
Welcome to the North Clackamas team. Have a good evening.
All right. So after that fun, I can also say that it has been a joy to see smiles and joyful energy at our Educator in-service week this week. Our exec team was in full steam, making the rounds to schools and welcoming back staff, saying hi, and experiencing some of the aligned learnings that were happening for the year. And so here you see a few schools that have been engaging in professional development and hard work on behalf of our students and families. And here's another one, or a couple different schools that were also engaging in professional development. And as you can imagine, we were equally, if you can go back for just a second, equally excited to welcome back our students this week. And these pictures display some of the joy that we experienced in jumping into a little bit of the action in our schools starting the new school year. And so just some fun things happening in the classroom. Thank you. And I am honored to keep the smiles going. North Clackamas School District has been awarded by the School Business Officials International Association the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the fiscal year ending 2021. The association's mission is to promote and recognize excellence in financial reporting, and our finance team was awarded this distinguished honor for their dedication and transparency to our finances and economical state of the district, including our communication mechanisms in building trust and engaging with our school community while demonstrating commitment to financial stewardship and transparency. So I want to stop for a second to thank and congratulate our finance department yet again. This is not the first time we have won this award, and it is because of their hard work and dedication to us for this well-deserved award. And so I just want to take a second and thank the entire team that is now led by Matt McCarra. So thank you. And preparing for a new school year means making sure that we are putting safety at the forefront, as I know many of our staff, students, and families have asked us about what does that look like going into this year. We have been adding secure entry hardware at each of our comprehensive high schools. In addition to that, we've been implementing and training staff on the new revised standard response protocols. And so the standard response protocol updates include some new terminology, the new action of hold, which is to be utilized when there is a need to keep common areas clear in the building. So for example, if we were to have a medical emergency within the building and we need to keep the hallways clear, keep things from spilling into common areas, we would use the terminology hold. And then an old action that is being removed was lockout, which is being replaced with secure. So there continues to be a lot of confusion between terminology of lockout and lockdown. And so we're excited that secure should eliminate the confusion and provide some clear explanation of the required response. And then all of the other terminology will continue and move forward. So what I can say is our risk department has been steadily out training folks, and our students and staff have welcomed this training. And it's been really good as we went through it as well. And they have been answering questions for staff in addition to doing the training. And so just want to thank our risk department for taking that on and making that a priority as well. We continue to communicate with families on our communicable disease plan and our COVID-19 management plans, which are also listed on our website. We will continue to take steps in preventing and mitigating any disease spread. And many of the steps will continue in terms of what we were already engaged in from last year. So continuing our protective gear as necessary and appropriate, hand sanitizers and masks as an option for folks, testing and isolation protocols as needed. Continued focus on facility protocols for cleaning and ventilation. And for now, we will also continue to post district-wide COVID-19 testing data on the website as a source of information for families, students, and staff as needed. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. And here you'll see we have our initial enrollment trends for the start of the school year. In general, over the years, North Clackamas has stayed fairly consistent with enrollment, but the last 2 years, we have shown a dip along with other districts across the state, which is not surprising given the educational changes within the pandemic. However, I will say at this time, we're very excited to see we are trending back up where we have typically been in terms of enrollment. And I do want to share with the board that we will have more concrete numbers for you at the September 22nd meeting, as this data does not include, it includes, I should say, our no-shows that have not been taken out of the system yet. So some of these numbers may be a little bit high, but we'll true them up for the next meeting with you. And so you can see that we're approximately up 100 elementary students, more than 25 kindergarten students, and approximately 15 more middle school students. And then our high school numbers have increased significantly while we're looking at that, while charter schools are up about 65 students over the past year. And again, I just want to iterate that this is preliminary numbers and does not include seat counts and no-shows. So we'll bring back the more detailed information on the 22nd. Our family support at Wichita Center continues to be high. I want to remind folks that we are happy to take donations and much needed for gently used clothes, and also canned goods and any kind of items that could be supportive of families in need. And we want to make sure that our families feel safe and welcome to obtain the services that they may need at the Wichita Center. So we have some pretty amazing things happening over there. And this is our care program, which is our before and after school care. We have currently 7 programs located across our schools for before and after school care, with a new location at Linwood Sojourner this year. Currently, we have 588 students registered, with another 214 on the wait list. We are thrilled that our staffing has allowed us to service 200 more students this year than we were able to service last year. We've onboarded 8 new staff, including 3 student employees, so that's been kind of fun. However, we do still have 17 open positions to fill, which would allow us to add more students from the wait list. So I just want to remind folks, if you know anybody out there that is interested in a really rewarding job, please send them our way. We would love to add staff and have more students be able to join our care program. And our facilities continue to be hard at work. We have recently hired an evening custodial manager who is here this evening to support our custodial training and supervision. We're contracting with landscaping companies to assist our grounds teams with trees, weeds, and bioswale maintenance. We continue to have opening on our grounds crew. So again, if you know of anybody that's out there, please send them our way. And our bond is continuing to close out some small pieces of the projects that have been delayed due to supply chain issues or shortages or whatever that has looked like. But they're doing amazing work picking up those small projects that need to be completed. And our transportation department continues to work to fill approximately 15 or so route driving positions. I will say currently we are able to maintain our routes with the staffing that we have. That's not sustainable long time. We have folks filling into positions that are not theirs, but it's getting us through what we need to. So again, another place that we're looking for folks to join us. And so some of you may have heard about a new Senate bill, Senate Bill 732, that we're working hard to implement, that has become law. And the law requires that school districts with more than 10,000 students need to have an educational equity advisory committee. And this committee advises the school board and the superintendent about educational equity impacts of policy decisions and day-to-day operations. And the law requires that the committee must be made up of parents, students, staff, and community members who identify with traditionally underrepresented communities. So the majority of the committee is expected to be made up of underrepresented communities. And this committee will have direct access to both the superintendent and the school board. So it's important that we get the members that represent the voices that often go unheard. So we are proposing with the law an equity design committee that will create and provide input on the application process, application outreach, and selection process, in addition to the committee charge, the protocols, meeting topics, timelines, committee structures, term limits, and I'm sure there will be other things that the committee, the design committee would be helping us to think through and think about. This initial committee can do the work, do the important work of building a process that will ensure that the actual intention of this law can be operationalized with fidelity and cultural awareness. And this would be a short-term committee, and we would go about appointing members on a permanent basis based on the information that comes out of the design committee. So that's something that would love if board members have input or ideas, that you would make sure that we have that information as we move forward. And I will share that we are excited to update you on our preschool promise grant application success. So in August, you may remember our executive director, Dr. Williams Rodriguez, and elementary school coordinator, Jen Burkhart, informed the board of our application for the preschool promise grant. And last week, we heard the news that the Oregon Department of Education's Early Learning Division communicated their intent to award our district's grant proposal. So we are one of 3 awards in the county, which is very exciting. And we are still working on the details with ODE, and we'll share the information as soon as it's confirmed. So we don't have much beyond, we know we are awarded, but still have some logistical details to work out, but very excited for what's coming next. So stay tuned. I will say, last but not least, as we kick off our strategic plan this year, our mission, as I stated earlier, includes an important word that means so much to everyone that works with our students and families. And we've talked about the word courage extensively as we go into this school year. And so we shared stones with our administrative team with the word courage on them, with the entire administrative staff that came together in August. And so as a memento of our appreciation for all that you do, tonight before you leave, we will be sharing this token with you as well to remind us of the important work in keeping students' needs at the center. And that's what that means for us as we as administrators are going forth into this school year. So in the spirit of gratitude, we have so much to be proud of and so much excitement at the start of the year. And I just want to thank our board of directors for being a part of this journey with us. So thank you very much. And with that, we will open up for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Superintendent. Lots of information there and lots of good news. Any comments, questions from board members? Please raise your hand if you can online. I'll try to, and then either board member. Do you have Vice Chair Benaloga?
I just had 2 things. One thing, we no longer need to contact trace, correct? When it comes to COVID-19, or are we still having to contact trace as well?
I am going to look at our chief of staff for the rules around contact tracing specifically, as she has been leading that. So I want to make sure I don't misspeak with that contact tracing.
Is there a specific question related to
Just
contact?
are we still, that was just one thing that wasn't clarified. Just are we still having to contact trace this year as well?
We're identifying those who have been determined to have the symptoms of COVID and then have been tested as COVID positive. We do have a team that's then informing them of the isolation procedures. In some isolated cases, we're doing more extensive contact tracing depending on the student and the specifics. But generally, we are not contact tracing to quite the same full extent that maybe happened early in the pandemic.
Okay.
We do have a dedicated team and they're staying on top of it. Clackamas County will direct us if the levels get to a place where they want us to take other action, led by Dr. Gomez and Barnaby Glover. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I just want to thank the superintendent and the team for a good report. And it's wonderful to see the school year starting on such a positive note. Wonderful to see the additions and the excitement in our schools as we start the school year. So thank you all for your hard work. I know it was, some get the summer off, but I know most of you do not. And we appreciate all of the hard work and the passion and the hard work and the love of our district to make sure that we have something wonderful to come back to each fall. So we do appreciate that.
Director Way.
Thank you, Chair Bauer. Thank you so much for the report, Superintendent James. I just have a few questions and some comments. So my first question is around and I may have missed this, but how are we doing on bus driver recruitment? And related to that, if there are families out there, folks who qualify, who want to volunteer to help, a school bus full of kids, is there a process for that if folks do want to volunteer their time, or if we're still recruiting for additional bus drivers in our district? So that's my first question, and then I have another one.
Gotcha. Absolutely. We have 15 positions to fill for route drivers. We are right now able to maintain getting all of our students to school, but that's not sustainable long term. We have folks subbing and trainers that are filling in and jumping in. And so, yes, we absolutely are looking to fill those positions. They are on our website, folks can go to. And if folks have a hard time navigating that, please just call our front desk and we'll get you to the right folks. And so we would love to have anybody that is interested in that. So thank you.
Great. And then my second question was around the Wichita Family Center, which I've been there before, and it's just an amazing facility. And, thank you for stressing the importance that the needs in our community is still very high when it comes to accessing food and, particularly, I imagine with fall coming, winter weather, clothes, shoes for many of our families and our kids. So I guess my question is, with relation to that, is it just ongoing needs that you want community to step up and fill? And also, are we also partnering with larger businesses around just some of the needs around canned goods and things that we're needing? So it was sort of a part two question around the Wichita Family Center and the needs there that community or parents or business leaders can help fill.
Absolutely. I'll start us up and then our chief might also add some information. But I will say the needs are high at Wichita around, in particular, food and clothing. Things are going off the shelf fairly quickly. And we are partnering with folks. I know our Rotaries have been essential in not only donating goods, but also coming in and volunteering when we need people to step in. And we do have other folks other organizations that have been partnering with us in helping to make sure that we have some of the supplies to fulfill the needs. I'm going to ask Tiffany to see if she has anything to add.
Just two shout outs to KGW, who held a school supply drive that brought a number of supplies to our community and here at the beginning of school. And the second is to the grocery outlet on McLaughlin, who has really taken up Wichita as a donation site. There are many others also. Those are two who have really taken a leadership role this last maybe 6 weeks to 8 weeks in providing for Wichita. We do push out needs that we have on social media. Food and clothing, as Dr. James said, are always welcome, though sometimes we push out special drives for special items.
Thank you. And I apologize, my internet, I think, may have kicked me out. So I may have missed a little bit of what Dr. James was saying, but I can also follow up. So thank you.
Director Perez.
Thank you, Chair Bauer. Thank you for the presentation, Superintendent James. Two questions. First one is, I'm wondering if it's possible I know sometimes when I'm online searching for things, I'm not the most IT savvy person either, but sometimes I get a little lost, and I'm wondering if maybe we can put a phone number up for folks to see that are interested in maybe applying for the bus or any other positions in our school district. And second question is the Educational Equity Advisory Committee. I heard how that's going to be put together. but what I may have missed was how is the educational equity design team being put together, and where can, yeah, I'll let you answer. I'll wait till you answer that, and then I'll ask the follow-up.
Yes, to the first question, I'm looking at our communications folks in the audience, and we will figure out a way to get phone numbers and some information out regarding our open positions and also on social media. So we'll work on that. In terms of the design team, we currently have some of our community and facility liaisons that would be wonderful folks to be on the committee. We also have some board members that are part of the committee. We have some parents of underrepresented communities that have showed interest already through our community and facility outreach liaisons. And so we would like to look at who those folks are and potentially add them to the design committee. And then in addition, we've had quite a few of our students from many underrepresented communities that have participated in Youth Truth work that we did with them last June. And that includes students of many different ethnicities and racial background, but also our LBGT community and students with disabilities as well. And so we would be looking to that group as well to bring them onto the design committee. So.
And actually, Superintendent, that kind of jolted my brain here a little bit. Are we able to have students on the advisory committee too? Can we have a student or two, or is that?
We absolutely will have students on the advisory in addition to the
Awesome.
equity or the Student Equity Voice Committee that will be moving forward with through because of the not coming out here with our Student Voice Equity Committee that the board has directed us to do. We'll also have a representative on Senate Bill 732 committee, including budget committee as well.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Any other comments or questions for the superintendent? I think my only question is that I just wondered how filling the number of vacancies this year is compared to last year. We've always had vacancies in transportation and special needs, special ed, and there were even some teachers and IAs that. So how does it compare? Does it seem more positive?
I can get you specific numbers in terms of how many positions we have filled for the beginning of this year. I don't have that off the top of my head. I'm not sure if our HR director has. I don't think so. But what I can tell you is I think that we have been more successful in filling our positions earlier this year, and our HR department has worked really hard this summer to make sure that we filled as many positions. And so we're not starting the year with as many open positions as we had last year, but in terms of how many, I'll need to get you that information.
I think your response was enough for now. Yeah, I don't want to give you even more work. Okay, we really appreciate a very concise informational report, and thank you for the great work that you and your staff are doing. Appreciate that. Next on the agenda is board reports. Customarily, board members report on their activities within the school district. Each month, this time is set aside for each board member to share a report. Director McVeigh, would you like to go first?
I'll pass.
Director Perez.
Thank you, Chair. I guess I wasn't able to attend. I don't know if there's many events over the summer, but I will say that I happened to drop my kids off to school this week, first week of school. And I was in line to pay some fees at Happy Valley Middle School. And I just want to comment how the bookkeeper there, Paula Fish, was just kind of grace under pressure. She had a full line of students and a full line of parents, and she was just working hard with what you got and doing the best we can. That's what we all do the best we can with what we have. but she was just showing kindness and grace and courtesy. And she had these 2 long lines, kids who had issues with their lockers, because I was there early to pay the fees, and kids who needed their schedule, parents paying fees. And she was just, it was, what's the word, aplomb, grace under pressure. And I think, and also I was at my other kid's school, and same thing. I went by a classroom, and it was one of the teachers, kindergarten, Jake Lee was there, and he was filling in, catching up a couple of subs that were helping out, and he's just working hard. And it just, both of those scenarios made me think how awesome our district is as far as just kind of working hard. We're doing the best we can. We're human, and we're all in this together. And at the end of the day, it's for our children. And so I was just proud to see how our staff was working so hard. And I know our administrators work hard, teachers, staff, everyone, we're all doing with what we got and in these times. And so just want to just express that appreciation and the gratefulness for all the awesome people and the new world champions that we have coming on board too. I heard some really good things in there, parking spots and pancakes, and looking forward to getting more information on those world champions. But you're coming into an awesome district. Everybody's working hard for our children. That's all. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Director Perez. Director Way.
Thank you. I just have 2 things. One, a couple of weeks ago, I'm part of the Oregon School Boards Association Members of Color Caucus Leadership Group, and we are recruiting for new members of our executive team. So it's just any board members identify as board members of color. We are looking for you and your voice and your leadership to help serve on OSBA's committee. And we're going to keep the interest rate open for about a couple more weeks. Summertime, folks are taking some time off and spending time with their families, and transition back to school is also definitely a transition we will keep in mind. We're looking for additional folks to help serve. And then
Kathy, you're breaking up. It's getting kind of hard to hear you. Did we lose her? Oh, I think we just lost her. Let's go on, Director Benaloga, Vice Chair.
Yes, thank you. Just able to do a couple of things. Went to the Milwaukee Putnam football game. Lots of people in attendance. The weather was beautiful, and it was just nice to see all the energy the Thursday before Labor Day. So it was a great crowd out that evening. And I had the opportunity to also, I took my exchange students to Freshman Assurance Day on Tuesday at Milwaukee, and just really impressed with the link crew there, which is the juniors and seniors that volunteer. Lots and lots of kids in tie-dye, made it very easy to figure out who you could go to ask questions, and literally applauding every freshman that walked into the gym. I was just, it was really incredible. I went in to just sneak a peek at my students who were just overwhelmed by all of the wondrous American high school traditions, but it was just very neat. Just lots of positive energy, lots of great kids volunteering their time, and staff members that were smiling. It was just a wonderful energy. So I look forward to that continuing throughout the year, but just a great way to start the year.
I can't hear.
Oh, Kathy, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. And sorry, internet problems for me.
Yeah. Do you want to finish your report?
Oh, sure. I just wanted to say I'm very much enjoying all of the Spirit Week themes that some of our schools are doing. I've been following Clackamas schools Spirit Week themes week, and okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. My report then is that I attended 2 middle school open houses and learned a lot. And I my hat's off to the administrators on changing things to solve problems too. When things weren't working, they're stepping up, they're changing things, they're listening to parents and students. I was struck by that. And then at Rock Creek, I went to the 6th-day or the 6th grade evening where they were welcoming them, and lots of excitement there. There was some a little afraid, and some of the lockers weren't matching the sizes, but that was a real physical barrier for some of them. They couldn't reach, or they were too tall and had to stoop over. So, but staff dealt with all of that. I attended a volleyball game and a football game. And enjoyed all of that. So that's my report. Let's move on. Next is on the agenda is National Hispanic American Heritage Month Proclamation. We'll start with Vice Chair. We'll read it first and then we'll vote. Vice Chair Benaloga will begin reading the proclamation. Then we have assignments.
Whereas each year the United States observes National Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating the culture, heritage, and countless contributions of those whose ancestors were indigenous to North America, as well as those who came from Central and South America, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Spain, and
whereas what began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Johnson and was expanded by President Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending on October 15th. And whereas this year's theme, Unidos, Inclusivity for a Stronger Nation invites us to celebrate Hispanic heritage and to reflect on how great our tomorrow can be if we hold on to our resilience and hope. And
whereas, although too numerous to recognize individually by name, Hispanic and Latino individuals serve as civil rights leaders and community organizers, politicians, soldiers, educators, journalists, first responders, pioneers in art and science, healthcare professionals, athletes, inventors, entertainers, and so much more. And
whereas Hispanic and Latino individuals continue their rich history of significant and diverse contributions to the cultural, educational, economic, and political vitality of our communities.
Now, therefore, it be resolved that the North Clackamas School District hereby proclaims September 15th through October 15th, 2022 as Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, and encourage all residents to honor the rich diversity of the Hispanic and Latino communities and celebrate the many ways they contribute to our nation and society, adopted this 8th day of September, 2022.
Thank you, Board. Let's move on before discussion. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation? Director Benaloga, Vice Chair.
I move that the board adopt the proclamation recognizing September 15th through October 15th, 2022 as Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month in North Clackamas School District.
Is there a second? Okay, Director McVeigh. Any discussion or comments?
that was Director Perez that did the second.
Okay, go ahead, Director Perez.
Oh, that was Chair, that was Director. That was me that did the second.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that correction. Okay, now is there any discussion about the proclamation? I want to thank the board for passing this. It's important to our families and our staff. 20% of our students are Hispanic, Latino, so it means a lot to them. And they're a big part of our society, our school, and there's lots of events coming up. I just noticed in the Clackamas Review, they were talking about one locally that we can go to and attend, but there's more coming up. So hope you can celebrate some of this great culture. Oh, yes, we do want to vote. Thank you for remembering. Let's do a roll call vote. Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benaloga,
Aye.
and myself as I. So we move forward with the vote of 5. North Clackamas District hereby proclaims September 15th through October 15th, 2022 Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, adopted this 8th day of September 2022. Budget Committee calendars, next agenda item, and I would like to welcome and bring forward our Director of Finance and Business Services, Matt Macara, for his agenda item, for this agenda item. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for your consideration tonight. The first item I am presenting for your discussion is the 2023-2024 budget calendar. This calendar includes 3 informational meetings, 1 in March and 2 in April. The first official Budget Committee meeting is scheduled for May 2nd, when the budget message will be presented. If needed, a second meeting will be held on May 16th. Followed by the budget adoption at the board meeting on June 8th. I am available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for Matt? Looks good, sounds good, and we'll go ahead with that. It's similar, it looks like, to what we've had in the past with some, and I would like to stress those informational meetings are very informational for public to attend to.
Yes.
Thank you for your work on this. I think you
you.
can stay there, right?
Yeah.
Because the next agenda item is committee vacancies. Thank you for coming forward, and I'll let you explain how this came about, and then Vice Chair Benaloga will open up for discussion about budget committee application process. Thank you.
The second item for discussion tonight is the declaration of budget committee vacancies and a timeline for filling those vacancies. There are 3 vacant positions. 2 are for members whose terms had expired, and the third is the result of a member having resigned to take a position in the district, with that position having been declared vacant on July 7th. At the next meeting, the board will take action to declare the remaining 2 positions vacant and open them for applications. My understanding is the board vice chair may lead a discussion on the application and interview process at this time.
Yes, and just for the board, I would like to just recap the process from last year, yes. Applicants submitted applications and responded to questions in writing. We had a Zoom video responding to additional questions was requested from some applicants. The interviews were held via Zoom. A scoring rubric was completed at each phase of the process to determine who moved forward. And then applicants were chosen at the November board meeting based on the rubric scores. So the things we want to think about and we need to discuss are, do we want that same process? One of the things to also consider is, are we wanting this process to still be over Zoom, or are we wanting this process to then be now in person, the interviews? So what are your thoughts?
Since you can't maybe see the screen, anyone online want to contribute their thoughts? I don't see any hands yet. And when I reviewed some of the questions, I'll just go ahead. Some of them do need to be updated. They're talking about our old strategic plan, and I'm sure there's others. I was involved in those questions, so I think you need someone new on that committee. I think the last step with the interviews that we had, those questions could be a lot richer than they were. We didn't have enough there. So my thought is maybe someone else would like to work on overview and helping and reviewing those questions.
And this could be something that is handled fairly quickly, because we do want to have something prepared. I believe for the board book next week would be preferable. Okay. I would be willing to help work through via email or Zoom to work through those questions. I do think it's important that we align our questions with the new strategic plan. We do have some new focuses, and I think it's important that our community understand how to link those and connect those as we move forward. So I would be willing to work on that next week. And we can get one more volunteer.
Let's see those hands up.
Not everybody all at once now.
Yeah.
I have a question though.
Just a question. You're not.
Just a question, Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
I can wait till we get this part done because my questions pertains to the interview hybrid versus in person. I'm wondering if it would be feasible to have in person and Zoom. Would that be feasible? That way, there's something about the in person that's always important, I think, in interviews. But if folks are uncomfortable in person, we have the Zoom available, the hybrid. So just curious as to if that would be feasible.
My question would be are the budget meetings both as well? Are the budget meetings in person, and can people participate over Zoom?
We did last year.
Yeah, I'm going to have our chief of staff answer that for you.
Last year, we held the informational meetings virtually, and we held the budget committee meetings in person. We noted this time at the bottom of the budget committee calendar that they may be held either way, not knowing what the environment will be like in April.
All right,
or
thank you.
March, April.
Sounds like it's possible to do that. I value that input. I think one question too we need to look at is the rubric and also how we score them, because that was quite lengthy at times. So if anyone has a better idea how to do that, to bubble the top, maybe we'll only get 3 applicants. We hope we get more. Last time we had 20 some. So that process worked well, and we got some really good members, and I'm looking at one right now. So if there's no volunteers tonight, we'll let you think about it and we will reach out to you. How does that sound, Director Bennell?
Yes, I can do that tomorrow and see if there's somebody that would like to work on this next week. And I do just want to reiterate that budget committee is an important piece of our community being involved. And it's a good way to begin that understanding, to get a deeper understanding of the way the finances work and the way that the state school fund works, the issues that we are dealing with when it comes to PERS. Just so much good information can come from being on the budget committee. So we do encourage those that are interested, that want to learn more. You don't have to understand it all. The district and Matt will be teaching us a whole lot about the budget when it comes out. And so you don't have to know it when you get here. You're here to learn with all of us and learn the process. So we invite anyone who's interested in learning more and being more in depth when it comes to the budget to definitely apply to the committee.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Now, Matt, you get to stay again, I think, don't you? Quarterly financials. Again, Matt will report and present this agenda item.
Good evening again. I would like to share some highlights from the financial report for the quarter and year ending June 30th, 2022. Please note that the information presented is preliminary and may change somewhat before the audit is finalized. The general fund ending balance is projected to be approximately $45.6 million, or 16.77% of revenues, and approximately 1.4 million less than the prior year. This balance, however, does represent an increase of $5 million over the most recent projection presented in April. The current estimated ending fund balance for the 2021-2022 fiscal year is $41.5 million. This ending fund balance provides the district with much needed resources as we navigate the uncertainty of state funding levels for the 2023-2024 biennium. The forecast for total revenue in this report represents an increase of $5.4 million over the most recent forecast in April. Forecast revenue from the state school fund has been increased by $3.5 million from the last projection to account for final year-end adjustments for the 2021-2022 school year. Property taxes were higher than forecasted by approximately $540,000. And revenue from Clackamas ESD was increased by $414,000. Revenue from high-cost disability grant has been decreased by $306,000 as a result of fewer placements than initially anticipated. The forecast for expenditures has been increased by $350,000 in total. Salaries have been decreased by $1.2 million from the last projection as a result of virtual online program expenses being moved to ESSER, and purchase services having decreased by $1.3 million from the previous forecast. Supplies and materials have increased by $2.3 million over the last forecast due to large technology purchases, the majority of which will be reimbursed. And the forecast for benefits were increased by $700K. As part of the financial report, you also have the investment reports showing the type of investment and the fund for which the investment is held. The district continues working to maximize investment in the local government investment pool and maintains a healthy cash flow. I would now be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Directors, any questions? Don't see any online, don't see any hands raised. Vice Chair Benaloga.
Yes, thank you again. Thank you for your report. I do have a quick question about the increase in the ESD funds. Is that a specific grant? Because it was over $400,000 increase. Is that a specific grant, or so will that be continuing, or was that a one-time grant?
I don't believe it represents a continuing increase, but I would have to do a little more research on the specifics. That was the primary driver of the variance from the previous forecast. But it wasn't the only thing that fell within that line item. So I'd be happy to do additional research and get you additional information on that.
Last chance, directors.
This is Tori. I have a quick question. Matt, do you know when the next PERS projections will be for our liability? I know that with the stock market and the PERS investments in Russia, I had read that it may be worse than ever.
I do not have a exact date on when the next forecast will be out. I was a part of viewed a state economic presentation last week. That wasn't a point of, or that topic didn't come up. So I would be, I can find that out and get that information to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for a great report. I am thinking, okay, we're okay this year, but the next year we'll start this biennium process down in Salem. And I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, and the board saw that the quality education model report came out and shows quite disturbing that we can't make it through that biennium. So you know what that means, directors, public, we need to go lobby again. So that's my only concern, but thank you for a great report on all of these items tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is policy revision. This is an action item, and I recognize Tiffany Sharman, Chief of Staff, for this item. Thank you for coming forward, Tiffany.
Good evening. Thank you. Tonight, I am bringing forward a policy revision. This is for action. During the governance meeting of this board on August 25th here recently, the board arrived at consensus for a number of things for board meetings moving forward. Two of those items that the board arrived at consensus at would require a revision to the public comment policy, BDDH. In particular, one item was to modify the length of public comments to 2 minutes, and the other is to institute a prioritization system for public comment speaker order that gives first priority to students. So I'm coming back tonight with a draft, including those two revisions. Based on your discussion at the last meeting, we're seeking action tonight.
Any questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve this policy then?
Motion to approve the approval of the attached policy revision of NCSD Board Policy BDDH.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, Director Penaloga. Any further discussion? I think I might just say around the 2 minute, our discussion was that it's easier to increase time than take away time. And so as tonight, if we have 1 or 2, it's easy to give the 3 minutes. But when we have 20, then that's when, you know, you add up even 5 or 6 times 3 is 15. So there was a lot of discussion on, we're not doing it to try to penalize parents. There's other ways to give input. There's letters. They can ask us to meet with them. Lots of ways. When we're out at football games, they can come up and talk to you, you know. So that's what I wanted to add to that. So now we need to vote. I keep forgetting to vote.
I have a comment, Mitzi.
Yeah.
I can support the policy revision, but if we find that there's unintended consequences with the 2 minute rule, I'll be coming back to the board with a motion to consider increasing the time.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Director McVeigh. So we do have the motion still on the table. Let's go forward with a vote. Director McVeigh,
Aye.
Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benaloga,
Aye.
and myself is aye. So the motion passes with a vote of 5. Next, level 3 grievance determination. Thank you, Chief of Staff, Chairman. This is an action item. Earlier this evening, the board held a hearing in executive session to consider the level 3 appeal of certain grievances. The board will now vote on whether to grant or deny grievances.
Director McVeigh,
Thank you.
I make a motion to deny the grievance.
Do I have a second?
Director Way, second.
Okay. So having properly moved and seconded, let's go for a roll call. Director McVeigh,
Aye.
Director Perez,
Question, Chair, is this motion applied to all the grievances?
I believe I heard plural.
Yes, okay. Aye.
Okay, thank you,
In that
Director
case.
Perez. Director Way,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benaloga,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. So pursuant to the requirements of the collective bargaining agreement, the parties will receive a written decision reflecting the vote within 15 days. Step 3, appeal to the board pursuant to KLAR, public complaint procedure. And this is also an action item. An employee has filed a step 3 appeal of a complaint with the board. Pursuant to policy KLAR, the school board is the final step in the district's complaint process. For complaints under this policy, the school board may hear the appeal. Thus, the first step is for the board to decide if it will hear the appeal. Do I have a motion as to whether the board will hear the appeal? Vice Chair Benaloga,
I move that the board will hear the appeal with the scope limited to whether the district provided the process established in KLAR.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
So let's go ahead with a roll call vote. Director McVeigh,
Aye.
Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benaloga,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. So the motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Parties will be notified of the board decisions. A hearing will be scheduled at a later time. Thank you, board members. I think we're at the close, and I'm excited about the start of the new year and your reports. And thank you, staff, parents, for your excitement, passion, and patience, and the passion, especially for public schools. We need to work as a team for our students, keep them centered. So thank you and have a good evening. So I will adjourn this meeting at 7:48. Is that right? Am I reading the clock right? Yeah, 7:48 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, chairs.
What did you
Thank you.
Oh, thank
Sorry.
you all for being
Sorry.
here.